It's the 7th of October and I'm Tom Glass and welcome to The Roast. Tonight, the Environment Minister Greg Hunt has been criticised for ignoring scientists and instead using Wikipedia for his scientific advice. You know what, who cares? I've been ignoring expert advice for years and look at me. I've still got 1/5 of my teeth. Oh, no one move. 1/5 minus 1. Like this morning, my doctor told me I had the measles, but I checked WebMD and it said I actually had feline shinbone obesity. Yep, experts are so overrated. Anyway, here's Mark Humphries with the headline. Oh, God. Hey, it's my last baby tooth.
The New Zealand government is sending text messages to people on welfare telling them to brush their teeth. Hey, back off, New Zealand. Patronising people on welfare is our thing. That being said, their text messages are nicer than the ones Australian politicians send.
Australian MP quits after sexting pictures showing him with his penis in a glass of red wine.
The New Zealand government has conducted a trial of the initiative and found that after receiving text messages, brushing rates rose from 53% to 73%, which is great, but if the government was really serious about improving brushing rates, Snapchat's the way to go.
This could be you.
Twin Peaks, the show you really like because you're cool, is coming back to TV after 25 years. Not coming back to TV, Doogie Howser, because then it would just be a grown man as a doctor, and that's not a very good premise for a show, is it? US network Showtime has commissioned 9 one-hour episodes to begin airing in the US in 2016, and will be available for illegal download in Australia about a minute after that. The network says the show will provide long-awaited answers for the series' passionate fan base, especially for the big question, how does David Lynch get his hair like that? Trees in Melbourne's CBD will be injected with hormones to make them less irritating for hay fever sufferers. At least that's what that guy on Lygon Street with the needle will tell you. London plane trees produce seed pods, which are often blamed for causing nasal, throat and eye irritations. Also causing irritation to Melburnians, Sydney-siders. The trees are expected to deny the allegations of hormone injections before ultimately revealing all to Oprah. And finally, a South Sydney Rabbitohs fan flashed his penis on live television yesterday. Seeing a dick on television is nothing new, of course. Channel 10 shows one every Sunday morning at 10. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. Well, next up tonight, there are loads of things you never want to hear a politician say. You know, things like, today we are introducing a new tax, or my question is for Prime Minister Lambie, or I accidentally nuked Perth. And when politicians are trying to dispute the link between climate change and increases of bushfires, you certainly don't want to hear the words...
I looked up what Wikipedia said.
That was Federal Environment Minister Greg Hunt, proving there really is too much talent on the front bench to let more than one woman on there. Now, you might recall that last October, Hunt, seen here trying to negotiate exactly how much environment we're going to get to keep in the next budget, told the BBC what he had learnt on Wiki.
I looked up what Wikipedia said, for example, just to see what the rest of the world thought, and it opens up with the fact that bushfires in Australia are frequently occurring events during the hotter months of the year. Large areas of land are ravaged every year by bushfires, and that's the Australian experience.
Ah, the Australian experience. Not doing anything about climate change. So 1 year ago, Hunt was a little bit sloppy with his research. Why is this back in the news today?
Confidential Bureau of Meteorology briefings obtained by Fairfax Media through Freedom of Information laws show senior officials warned Mr Hunt that the extreme heat that baked Australia in 2013 was unprecedented before Mr Hunt downplayed any link between fires and climate change.
Oh, so it's not that Greg Hunt wasn't getting information from qualified sources, it's just that he was ignoring that information in favour of a Wikipedia contributor whose name escapes me.
You talking about Sock Frog?
Yes, Sock Frog. Now, unfortunately, is it Dr. Frog or Professor... It's just Sock Frog. Okay. Sock Frog failed to mention that 2013 was also the hottest Australian summer on record. The Bureau, though, remembered to mention it to Hunt.
The Bureau also strengthened its judgment that Australia's unusual warmth of 2013 was a result of climate change rather than natural variability.
Yeah, in fact, last year, so many weather records were broken, it made the Climate Commission's map of Australia look like a fire sale where everything was literally on fire.
7 days in a row over 39 degrees? It's our angriest summer ever! Everything must go! Wildlife, houses, coral, This country is shutting down and we won't stop until this sunburnt land is naught but a toxic red dust bowl where the last survivors of our once great people wander aimlessly among the detritus of a scorched black crust.
So what is going on with Greg Hunt? Does he perhaps need a little refresher course on using reliable sources?
Tom, the guy knows all about climate change. He won a Fulbright scholarship to study at Yale.
Right.
He hasn't just been to university, he's been to college. College, Tom. Beer pong. Red cups. Toga parties. Beta, 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 gamma. Spring breaks. That pesky dean on spring break playing beer pong in a toga. Beta, beta, gamma.
Nick, where'd you get all this information?
Wikipedia. It's a great source, Greg.
Right, well, let's just keep in mind that Hunt's own entry in Wikipedia was edited to describe him as terrible at his job and an utter wiener.
And that wiener also wrote a thesis entitled A Tax to Make Polluters Pay, where he argued that even if some Liberals' constituents do respond negatively, a pollution tax does need to be introduced to properly serve the public interest.
Right, and what happened?
Tony Abbott got to that wiener, Tom, and I've explained it all in my completely non-libelous flipbook animation.
No.
Look at this. No. I'm gonna go into politics to change the world. Mr. Abbott, I want to tax big polluters. So what were you saying about a tax? No tax. I am yours, master. Mr. Hunt, why do you keep ignoring us? I thought you wanted to change the world. The world changed me. It's too late. Abbott's already got to him. Looks like we're on our own. Change world.
Have you ever had a job where your only responsibility was dismantling all the things you used to care about? Was that a little bit soul-crushing? Or did it happen so gradually you didn't even notice until one day you turned around and realised power does truly corrupt the heart? We'd love to hear about it at the Roast TV or hashtag RoastTV.
But enough depressing news about the land. Let's move to some depressing news about the sea. The Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority is axing 17 jobs after having its budget cut.
The departure of these directors and a dozen other staff represents the loss of more than 200 years of experience and expertise.
And sure, 200 years of expertise does sound like a lot, but it doesn't really count for anything if the government's never going to listen to you. So what was the area of expertise for these ancient scientists?
Sometimes we had 8 to 10 people working on climate change. Now you can't point to one who's entirely focused on climate change.
So getting rid of all the authority's climate change experts actually makes perfect sense, especially since the federal government's own Outlook report concluded that climate change remains the most serious threat to the Great Barrier Reef. But as the saying goes, what you don't know can't hurt you. So if we just make sure the reef and all those people who protect it don't hear about the government's plans for them, they'll be okay. Also, no one tell them about climate change. So what does all this mean for an Australia that seems more and more often to be disregarding the fact opinions of scientists? For more, let's turn to Jazz Twemlow.
Here's your ticket out of the country. Well done, congratulations. PhD in marine biology. Well, I'm going to suggest you study coral reefs in a country that gives a shit. I'm going to say Germany? Good. I'm here at a graduation ceremony helping these bright sparks get the hell out of this dead-end country.
What?
Oh, well, if you stay here, all of your years of research will be ignored in favour of a website arseholes use at dinner parties to prove people wrong. There you go. You see, I've taken the initiative of sorting out a better life for these obsolete, fact-filled academics. In Australia, they have a future about as bright as a shit in a cave, because the Australian government has developed a habit of firing them, and then the ones they keep on, they ignore. It's as if the government has a weird, erotic fetish getting turned on by paying people to utter scientific facts they don't want to hear. And that's why we can definitely say that anthropogenic global warming will increase the intensity and frequency of bushfires.
I hate it! More.
Wait.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm going to ignore the shit out of this.
Yep, good. Okay, rising CO2 levels What a terrifying time to be alive. Greg Hunt ignoring meteorologists and the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority losing a bunch of climate experts. Ignoring science isn't a solution. You might as well try to cure cancer by putting duct tape over an oncologist's mouth. There is an upside though. If we keep firing leading scientists, they'll have nothing to do with their spare time except update Wikipedia. And then Greg Hunt, in his desperate search to avoid facts, might actually stumble on a few. In the meantime, let's just bury our collective head in the desert sands of blissful ignorance. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, shit.
But in defence of the government, you know, sometimes scientists do get it wrong, like this discovery that was revealed this week.
The world is warming faster than we thought.
Yep, due to some inaccurate Southern Hemisphere ocean readings, global warming has in fact been hugely underestimated. So take that, scientists! We're going to be dead sooner than you thought! Ha! In fact, excuse me 1 second. Hello, Sock Frog? Yeah, I need you to tell the Environment Minister something. Good night. Yeah, are you near a computer? Good, just jump on Wikipedia and write this down.